A graduate student studying abroad in Israel was killed in a stabbing attack. We'll have reaction from the university where he studied.
Voters in 4 states are making their choices in presidential nominating contests. We'll tell you what the Michigan primary means for the candidates.
And hundreds of parents participated in a boycott outside LAUSD to protest the cut of a successful program. Annenberg TV News is next.
Live from USC, you're watching Annenberg TV News.
Police say an American student studying abroad is among dozens of people killed in an attack in Israel.
That's right, Ivana. A graduate student at Vanderbilt University was killed during a school-sponsored trip to Tel Aviv, Israel. Taylor Force was an MBA student at the university's Owen Graduate School of Management. The attack happened in Israel, in the Tel Aviv neighborhood of Jaffa. And a series of shooting and stabbing attacks also left dozens of Israelis, police, and civilians injured. The violence comes as Vice President Joe Biden arrived for a 2-day visit that includes a meeting with Israel's former president. Taylor Force was studying in Israel to expand his understanding of entrepreneurship and knowledge of startups.
I'm actually in Israel this summer, and I'm Jewish, and it looks so horrible for Israel, and it's so heartbreaking for Israel and the poor guy who got that it happened in the circumstances that it happened in. And I think that the entire Jewish community and the entire Vanderbilt population is really mourning about that.
Vanderbilt's Chancellor Nicholas Zeppo said in a statement, quote, "This horrific act of violence has robbed our Vanderbilt family of a young, hopeful life and all of the bright promise that he held for bettering our greater world," end quote. All other Vanderbilt students and staff who are in Israel currently are reportedly safe. The Santa Cruz Police Department says 6 UC Santa Cruz students are behind bars tonight in connection with an international drug ring investigation. Investigators found in the students' possession 4.1 pounds of ecstasy shipped from overseas, and that amounts to be about 5,000 tablets. The drugs seized have a street value of over $100,000. All 6 students were arrested for possession of a controlled substance. 4 had an additional charge of conspiracy.
With spring break around the corner, universities across the country are advising students to take proper precautions to avoid getting the Zika virus. One health official says it is not recommended to travel to some tropical areas over spring break.
If my son wants to go to Brazil next week, I will say, you're not going to go. As a parent, and not just for scientists, as a parents, I would say I would not recommend to go to that Brazil right now.
Students took to Twitter to let their followers know how the Zika virus is affecting their spring break plans. It's Jordan said, "Canceled my Florida spring break trip because of the Zika virus, not taking any chances with Braden." Allers Vanilla said, "They're telling us if we go to a tropical place for spring break to wear a long sleeve shirt and jeans so we don't get the Zika virus. LOL, no."
Thanks, Ivana. Well, guys, there are 4 nominating contests tonight. Our political team, Max Schwartz and Ali Main, are in Studio A ready to give us the latest. Max and Ali?
Thank you, Taylor. Today, Democrats and Republicans voted in Mississippi and Michigan, and Republicans are voting in Idaho and caucusing in Hawaii. In Michigan, Donald Trump is currently first in the GOP polls at 36%, with John Kasich in second at 34%, Ted Cruz in third at 19%, and Marco Rubio in fourth at 8%. On the Democratic side, Bernie Sanders has a 5 percentage point lead over Hillary Clinton, with 3% of precincts reporting.
And in Mississippi right now, Donald Trump is leading with 52%, followed by Ted Cruz with 38%, John Kasich with 6%, and Marco Rubio with 1%, with less than 1% of the precincts reporting. And on the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton has been declared the winner, 87% to Bernie Sanders' 11%, and again, that was with less than 1% of the precincts reporting. And we will be back later in the broadcast to give you an update on Michigan. Back to you in Studio C.
Thanks so much, Max. 2 law students at UC Berkeley have drafted a proposal for a law that would automatically register students to vote when they register for classes at public colleges. We spoke with a Cal student about student reaction to the new legislation.
I think that in general, more people voting is something that everyone's in favor of, and having better access to registration makes it easier for a lot of students.
The proposal is intended to increase voter turnout from the younger generation by making it easier to register. Officials say that the bill will have its first committee hearing later this month.
Today, a coalition of more than 100 mayors and county leaders filed an amicus brief in support of the president's executive action on immigration reform that is currently being challenged in the Supreme Court. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti is one of the mayors leading the coalition.
Walls don't just exist on borders. Walls exist within our cities. People are forced to live in shadows when people don't have the opportunities, straight A students to get scholarships, when workers suppress the wages of everybody because they're working under the table. It is time for us to see a pathway that is boldly and historically American.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments on the case on April 18th. The federal government announced today that U.S. naturalization applications are up more than 14% as Election Day draws near. This number is higher than the amount of applications normally received in an election year. Many immigrants say they want to vote against presidential candidate Donald Trump as they oppose his deportation plans and his ploy to build a wall along the Mexican border. Immigrants must first fulfill a few requirements before becoming a naturalized citizen. They have to be at least 18 years old at the time of filing and pass a citizenship test.
It's all what's provided in the application. So that when folks fill out the Form N-400, a lot of the times they're asking for travel history and information about their time in the United States, as well as they actually come to our office to take the citizenship test, as well as be able to demonstrate their ability to read and write and speak basic English.
Immigrants who want to vote in the upcoming election should plan ahead. Although there are no official deadlines, the average naturalization processing time is 5 to 7 months depending on the area.
Parents protested at an LAUSD board meeting today after the school district voted to cut a popular language immersion program. Protesters supporting the Mandarin immersion program at Broadway Elementary School in Venice marched outside the LA Unified School District headquarters in downtown LA this morning.
So they're learning 2 languages from a very early age. We don't know how that's going to help them in life, and we want to see this program continue for other children.
The one thing is the global marketplace down the line, but I think even for now, just learning all the subjects in different languages, I think it expands, your brain as a child.
The program teaches students in English for half of the day and then switches to Mandarin for the second half. Students from Broadway Elementary also attended the rally to speak out against the LAUSD's decision.
I like my teachers very much, so I don't want them to leave. 我很喜欢我的老师，我不希望他们离开。Thank you，谢谢。
The school board voted to cut the program from 96 students to 48, while adding 2 Mandarin immersion classes at Braddock Elementary School in Culver City.
El Nino is taking its toll in the Northern California town of Pacifica. A storm-battered cliffside is crumbling beneath a second apartment complex, which is now set to be demolished. The erosion-prone bluff was tagged unsafe by city officials during the last El Nino in 2010. This year's storms have made the area increasingly dangerous for residents. Heavy rains and powerful waves led to the demolition of a neighboring complex last month. City Manager Lori Tinfow shared concerns over the building's potential collapse.
And if so, it would cost a lot more to demolish, and it would also then potentially hurt someone who's on the beach.
Fences have been placed around the property while crews remove lead and asbestos before tearing it down. The city hopes the property owner, Miller Tong, will help pay for the demolition as it could cost up to $400,000, though that might not happen since Tong declared bankruptcy last year.
The stock market took a plunge today with both the Dow and Nasdaq falling significantly. The Dow fell 110 points to 16,964, while the Nasdaq also fell 59 points to 4,648.
A USC senator is the subject of a formal complaint brought against him by USC's program board. Wolf from both sides coming up.
And 60 Minutes correspondent Bill Whitaker stopped by Wallace Annenberg Hall. We'll hear what the CBS veteran told aspiring young journalists.
And we'll meet a member of the Ping Pong Posse. That's right, it's a story you won't want to miss.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
North Korea is threatening to launch a nuclear strike against its southern neighbor. One USC student from South Korea says people back home are very worried because North Korea now has nuclear capabilities.
If you see the news portal there, people there are reacting like they're actually serious. This is one of the biggest incident that has happened over the past decade or so, regarding North Koreans and South Korean relationship that has been close to a war. Koreans are definitely worried.
North Korea's threat comes as the U.S. and South Korea hold their annual joint military exercises. Jung says he may eventually have to participate in those drills.
I'm a green card holder right now, so if I wait a little more longer, I probably will be able to apply for U.S. citizenship. In that case, I don't have to serve at all. But even with the green card, I still have to serve as long as I have that green card. If a war breaks out, I definitely might have to go because my family's still there, and I probably want to defend them.
Jung will get a chance to see what's really happening in South Korea when he returns home for spring break next week.
USG Senator Jacob Ellenhorn is in hot water tonight after program board filed a formal complaint against him, accusing him of misusing his title and calling for him to be removed from office.
Because senators are elected, the undergraduate student body expects them to be held accountable to their responsibilities that are outlined in the bylaws. We consistently ensure that we as student leaders are holding ourselves to the highest standard we can, but also making sure that we're fulfilling our duties that are outlined in the bylaws.
The complaint against Ellenhorn accuses him of 3 violations. One accusation says Ellenhorn, quote, misuses his title and abuses his power when he writes negative op-eds about fellow USG officials, specifically the directors of the Women's Student Assembly, instead of meeting with them directly to discuss their differences. The complaint also alleges that his involvement as the USC College Republicans president has created a, quote, hostile environment for the USC student body. And finally, the complaint accuses him of filming a USC program board event for the college news site Campus Reform without obtaining a film permit. Early this morning, Ellenhorn had this to say on his Twitter page. Quote, try to silence me, I dare you. Hashtag free speech, hashtag safe Jacob, hashtag do not scorn the horn, end quote. It is important to note that only the senators have the power to remove a fellow senator from office. If the senators do not act on the measure within 10 days, then the complaint officially becomes void.
Complaints are unfounded and ridiculous, and my response is that I will not stand down. I will continue speaking out. I'm going to go out to as many media individuals who want to interview me, who want to get questions, who want to get quotes. I will speak on behalf of the story because I'm not going to let them silence me. This has been happening across the country. People have been silenced. I'm not going to be one of those individuals. I'm going to stand up and fight for my rights.
Ellen Horn plans on appearing on more radio shows and talk shows to get his story heard.
So Ivana, last week it was super hot, and yesterday morning it was pouring rain. What is going on with the weather this week?
I really don't know. I hope it warms up though. Let's check in with our weather anchor, Jasmine Kionford, for more.
Yeah, guys, so we have been having quite a bit of tossing back and forth between hot and cold, but we did see some stormy skies and we did have quite a downpour over the weekend. But remember, we do need it because we are in a drought. Let's go ahead and take a look at our current temperatures and see where we stand for right now. Right now we're at 64 degrees, so it is cooling down. We are at fair conditions, so no rain. It is a little bit cloudy, but we haven't seen those raindrops come in today. Winds are at 5 miles per hour, so it is a little bit windier than we were seeing last week. Let's go ahead and move on to the rest of Southern California and see what we look like for tomorrow's temperatures. Down in Palm Springs, you're looking at 85. Up in Big Bear, you're looking at 57. So Big Bear, you're nice and comfortable. You are kind of starting to heat up. You were in the 50s last week as well. As we move into San Bernardino and Riverside, we see that we are kind of in those upper to mid 70s, so not that cold, and we aren't seeing rain for tomorrow in Riverside and San Bernardino. Let's go ahead and move up along the coast and see where we are at Malibu. Malibu, you're looking at 71, so nice and cool down in Malibu. And as we move into the valley, Simi Valley, we're looking at 75. Northridge, you're also looking at 76. So kind of throughout the valley, you're looking at those mid dry conditions, mid 70s, so not too bad. Let's go ahead and take a look at temperatures closer to home and see where we stand for tomorrow. Folks down in Anaheim, you're comfortable, nice at 76. Pasadena, you're also at 76. And as we move closer to the coast down by LAX, we are at 68. USC, we're going to be at 72 tomorrow, and Long Beach, you're a little bit cooler at 70. Let's go ahead and take a look at our 5-day forecast. For tomorrow, 74. Kind of throughout the night, we're looking at those 50s. As we move into the weekend, Friday, Saturday, you're going to see a little bit of rain. And as we go into Sunday, we are going to be seeing those clear skies, 65. And it looks like the weather is not the only thing going back and forth, because this week on Keeping Up with the Campus, I'm taking a look at a team with a different kind of back and forth.
They call themselves the Ping Pong Posse.
It's very friendly, it's very casual, and I think I've made most of my close friends actually from this club.
Friendly and casual, okay, but don't get this table tennis team wrong. They still compete.
We're preparing for the national competition, which is happening at the end of this month in Texas.
So I picked up a paddle to see what it's about. And let me tell you, it's not as easy as they make it look. But I eventually got it. Sort of.
Okay.
Hey! I'm actually okay.
This sport is my form of stress relief, and it's where I go to get away from the rest of my life, from school.
I bet you're happy I'm not on your team.
I bet he was happy I wasn't. The team practices 3 times a week for 2 hours. Clearly, I do not, but I should if I'm going to be making it to the competition.
I am so impressed you picked up a paddle in the first place.
I was kind of intimidated.
I really want to learn ping pong now. Yeah, that's a cool sport. Thanks so much, Jasmine. Veteran news correspondent Bill Whitaker stopped by the Annenberg School today to speak with the next generation of journalists. The 60 Minutes correspondent took a tour of the Annenberg building and spoke on a panel moderated by both professors and students. Whitaker says the future of journalism is very bright.
We're always going to need journalists. I don't see this profession going away. That profession, this career, this life choice. I don't see it going away. But it is morphing, just sort of like everything else with this. You know, we've got more power on our little personal phones than they had when NASA put men on the moon. We carry more power in our pockets now. So this can't help but change things. It has to.
Whitaker's visit was organized by the Institute for Diversity and Empowerment at Annenberg and the National Association of Black Journalists here at USC. And it's hard to imagine spring football is already here.
And the USC basketball team is gearing up for the Pac-12 tournament. Ty Hawkins has more.
I've got to admit, you ladies do your research. We've got the latest results from the fairway. The Trojans are back on the gridiron for the first time since 2015 under new coach Clay Helton. And the Trojans face a familiar foe in the first round of the Pac-12 tournament. Pull up a chair and join us. I'll tell you all about it.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Welcome back to ATVN. First-year head coach Clay Helton had his interim tag removed last season before the Pac-12 championship game. So this upcoming season will be his first full season in charge. He's a rookie, and today we stopped by his first spring practice.
I think the team is great. I think we just need to make sure we're getting better on whatever we do, like as a position group. Like I said, focus on the position groups, focus on us, and get the job done.
The team hopes to build a solid base during spring ball and in preparation for the 2016 season with their young receiving core and leadership under new quarterback Max Brown. Practices are open to the public each Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30 through April 16th. Oh, and on behalf of Zach Banner, please, no blue shirts. The men's basketball team swept UCLA during the regular season for the first time since 2010. The last time USC beat UCLA 3 times in one season? Never, which is why they aren't looking past them in the opening round of the Pac-12 tournament.
These are to play together, play unselfish, play hard, and play smart. We got to really beat them and stop them from scoring a lot of baskets over there for sure.
Honestly, we're just going to take it game by game. We're not going to look ahead because UCLA is the most important to us right now.
Handling each of their last 2 contests by a combined 34 points. Since then, however, the Trojans have gone 5-8, including dropping 4 of their last 5. Tip-off is set for 6 p.m. tomorrow night in Las Vegas. Scott Cook and myself will be at the MGM Grand Arena, and you can follow our coverage on Annenberg Media. The men's golf team finished in a dominating fashion today at the Southern Highlands Invitational. The Trojans shot 8 under par as a team to take a 7-stroke lead heading into the final day of the tournament tomorrow. Sean Crocker shot 4 under to finish 6 under par and earn a share of the individual lead. The tournament will wrap up tomorrow in Las Vegas as the Trojans hope to maintain their large lead. Today in Beverly Hills, the United States Olympic Committee announced they've created a 53-person committee of former U.S. Olympians to help support the LA 2024 movement. Former USC Trojan and gold medal winning swimmer Janet Evans spoke at the event and expressed her hopes to bring the games back to the City of Angels.
And I'm sure that they agree with me that sport can and does change the world for the better. So thank you again to all of these athletes on our commission who have agreed to share our LA 2024 dream and help move the movement forward.
One of the recently named members was Carl Lewis, who won a gold in the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. Lewis said every time he comes to LA, he's swept away by the river of emotions he had from the '84 games, adding, "Every time I return, it's a special feeling." When people hear the name Megatron, 2 things come to mind. The imposing villain in Transformers who drove the Autobots nuts in space. The other, Calvin Johnson, the wide receiver who did the same, except he was terrorizing NFL defenses. Today, the 31-year-old, 9-year veteran announced his retirement from the Detroit Lions. Since 2007, no receiver has had more receptions, touchdowns, or yards than Johnson. No wonder he has the best nickname in all of sports. Johnson said after speaking to those closest with him and loss of thought that it was time to move on. And he's at peace with his decision. Megatron, we'll miss you.
So are you excited for your upcoming trip?
Bart Scott's voice, can't wait. We're going to Vegas.
We're invited too, right?
We'd love to have you. Gotta be a Trojan support. We're a sports Trojan.
For sure.
Well, thanks, Ty. Voters continue casting their ballots in today's presidential primary.
HTVN's Matt Schwartz and Allie Main will keep us updated on the polls when we come back.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
What's up? What's happening today?
Let's go, Pearly Whites, man.
Yeah! The boys, check it out. Stand up, do my chairs, don't compare us.
Ooh, cute. Are you good to try?
I'm fine. Hey girl, what's up? What's your name? What's good? What's up?
How many did you have? I should be fine. You should be.
Sir, go and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
We want to check back now with Max and Allie for the latest on the presidential primary in Michigan.
Donald Trump has Thank you, Ivana. Donald Trump has been declared the winner of both the Mississippi and the Michigan primary. With 15% of precincts reporting in Michigan, Donald Trump is in first at 38%, followed by Kasich at 27%. Cruz is in third at 22%, and Rubio is in fourth at 9%. The gap in the Democratic polls between Sanders and Clinton has gotten smaller, but Sanders still leads with 50%, with Clinton behind at 48%.
Per-party rules, if the Republican winner gets more than 50% of the vote, he gets all of the state's 59 delegates. If the winner gets less than that, the delegates will be awarded proportionally to candidates who exceed the 15% threshold. So we will wait to see what Trump's final margin of victory is. And Michigan is a proportional state for the Democrats, as are all states. However, it will be important to see how if Bernie Sanders is able to win, because this will be the first time he wins a big state with a mixed demographic. Donald Trump has been mentioned on Twitter more than 220,000 times via his handle, Real Donald Trump, and he's dominating the hashtag verse. Clinton and Sanders are basically tied in mentions. Visit uscannonburgmedia.com tonight for all of the results. Now back to you.
Thanks, Allie and Max.
Well, Trump's again. What do you guys think about that?
There's either like a really big gap between the winner and the loser, or it's like a 50-50 race.
I know, I'm surprised Rubio was last this time.
Yeah.
Kind of a game change.
Yeah. I think it's a really tight race with Hillary and Bernie, though.
Yeah, it's different on the Democratic side.
Interesting to say the least.
Well, thanks for watching Annenberg TV News. From everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Ivana Nguyen.
And I'm Taylor Edgley. You can watch us on the web at uscannenbergmedia.com. Have a good night.